Hello, my name is Sriram Prakash and I'm the head of M&A and Growth Insight at Deloitte. I'm delighted to share with you some of the key findings of our latest M&A index. We are at the halfway point and 2015 is already emerging as one of the strongest years for M&A. So far this year, around 1.8 trillion worth of deals have been announced, an increase of 22% over the first half of 2014. This surge is being led by the US companies who are using the favorable credit conditions to go ahead with deal making. Let's look at what's happening in the US. The S&P 500 has around 1.6 trillion in cash reserves, but organic growth has been challenging. At the same time, the dollar has been strengthening, and the interest rates, at least for time being, are still low. And the appetite for corporate bond issuance remains strong. So this means M&A can be value accretive because companies can borrow cheap to fund their acquisitions, use their cash positions to repay the debt, and use their acquisitions to boost revenues. In part, some companies are taking more aggressive measures while pursuing M&A, and we are seeing an increase in hostile deal announcements this year. So far, 240 billion worth of unsolicited bids and hostile deals have been announced, and these are the highest levels since 2007. The emerging markets, led by China, are fast becoming important players in the global M&A markets. In 2014, for the first time, we observed that the cross-border outbound M&A investment from emerging market into the G7 nations exceeded the G7 outbound M&A investment into emerging markets. This trend is continuing in 2015 as well, and so far this year, nearly 29 billion worth of deals have been announced by the emerging market companies in G7, whereas only 19 billion of outbound deals were announced by the G7 into emerging markets. China, of course, continues to be a major player, and we expect the recent boom in Chinese IPO markets to spill over into M&A markets as well. This year, for the first time, international M&A deals done by publicly listed Chinese companies have outpaced deal making by the privately owned Chinese companies. When we look into Europe, it's a different story altogether, and seems a crisis of confidence is impacting European acquirers. On one hand, the ECB is forecasting 1.5% growth in the euro area, and this positive outlook is mirrored by strong corporate sector earnings. At the same time, the euro has depreciated more than 18% against the dollar since 2014. Making it more expensive for European companies to make overseas acquisitions. So far this year, only 44 billion worth of outbound deals have been announced by European companies, much lower than the 206 billion announced whole of 2014. In recent weeks, the political risks have heightened considerably, and together with the currency pressures, they are dampening both overseas and domestic M&A activities for European companies. However, this situation is creating opportunities for both North American and Asian companies, who have so far announced 201 billion worth of inbound deals into Europe, almost surpassing the 220 billion announced whole of 2014. So looking ahead, despite the risks in Europe, we remain cautiously optimistic since the deal-making conditions are still favorable. Thank you for listening.